Hey there. Welcome into Up and In.
Get me with
hey,
that intro every time.
I know, dude. I can't help but like get down to it. But hey, welcome to another episode of Up and In. It's finally here. Opening weekend is finally upon us and finally closing. The only game going on right now is the Padres and the Braves finishing up their series. Hack, how was your opening weekend? Is it everything you wanted, everything you hoped for?
I love opening day. I mean, there's always a couple tweaks we can complain about here and there. I wish that every team would play, and I'm a fan of starting the games at 12 or 1. I'll talk about that later in the show. I'm a fan of starting the games.
Hack, all right, man. Well, it looks like you have a little bit of interruption on your internet connection. That is okay. As always, this ball is going to continue to roll. We have a jam-packed show for us today. We're going to go over opening week. We're going to go over the torpedo bats. We're going to go opening. Hack and I have our first ever pitching draft, where him and I are going to pick our best 5-man rotation out of current pitchers, how they currently are playing, not them in the prime or anything this season, how they are now. And then Hack's got a question of the week for me every week. We're going to introduce that to you. And then we have a couple of other random topics that, of course, we're going to throw in there, Hack. We're just going to start off right away. And, obviously the Baltimore Orioles came out swinging on opening day with 12, scoring the most runs on opening day with 12, beating the Toronto Blue Jays 12-2. Adley Rutschman hit 2 bombs, as did Cedric Mullins. Tyler O'Neill continues his streak with his 6th straight opening day home run streak. Were you surprised to see the Orioles kind of take off like they did?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the offensive explosion. I think we've been predicting, at least for me, I've seen a lot of predictions of them falling this year in the AL East, and they came out and made a statement early.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Gunnar Henderson not in the lineup, I was expecting, there to be a little bit of a fall off until he kind of got into the lineup and got his bat going again, got back into the swing of things. But no, Adley Rutschman kind of set the tone. Obviously, Wells started off the scoring for the Yankees from the leadoff spot as a catcher, and Adley Rutschman did the same for the Orioles. Catchers were eating early on opening day. And then we got Paul Skeens, made his first opening day start, going 5 1/3 innings, striking out 7, allowing 2 runs. Obviously the Pirates, however, did not end up winning that game as Miami came storming back, scoring 3 runs in the last 2 innings, and Stowers walked it off. Man, I swear, man, Pirates fans, it's kind of up and down because you got Skeens, O'Neill Cruz moving to the outfield. He hit his first homer of the season, and it was at 150 miles per hour off the bat, absolute cruise missile. But the Pirates have 3 losses this series against Miami. All 3 of them were walk-off losses. So, I mean, that's got to hurt as a Pirates fan. Hack, what are you thinking? What's going on in the Pirates dugout right now?
I mean, this is a continuation from last year. Last year, Bedard blew a lot of saves for them. The difference is they had Chapman to go to, and now he's in Boston. And that bullpen, I mean, people that listen to the show know I'm a huge Paul Skeens guy from spring training last year. I've watched so many of his starts get ruined. So it is what it – I mean, as a Pittsburgh fan, it stinks because he's going to go the route of Glasnow and Garrett Cole and all the other studs you had. And when he gets on a winning team, you'll see his win total jump from 12, 13 to 20. And you'll be like, oh, my gosh, he's the best pitcher. This is what all the hype was about. And I think the same is true for O'Neill Cruz. Moving to the outfield, as a Phillies fan last year, I wanted Luis Robert. Well, if I can't get him, actually O'Neill Cruz might be better. So Pirates, you don't want to pay him, send him this way. I mean, it stinks for a Pirates fan because you're just developing talent for other teams.
No, but I love the way the Pirates are playing this season. Obviously, O'Neill Cruz had that untimely drop in center field in the extra inning game a couple nights ago that ultimately led to the Pirates losing in extra innings. But obviously, he's going to take some time. Same with Altuve and the Astros. There's going to be some growing pains switching to the outfield from the infield position. So obviously, this early in the season, we expect some mistakes to happen. Hopefully, that doesn't continue for too long. But hey, on the bright side, Pirates fans, you guys do lead the league right now with 14 stolen bases. I absolutely love the aggressive play style the Pirates are bringing into the season. Hopefully, they can kind of turn turn it around and that aggressiveness begins to kind of pay off. But anything else about Paul Skeens' start or kind of how the Pirates are looking before we move on to the kind of the Angels fumble of the day? No? Okay. And the Angels, they accomplished something.
The Pirates can turn
Go ahead.
out to Pittsburgh. I'm going to be out in Pittsburgh, and I think we're going in June. So I hope I'm going to see Skeens versus Wheeler in a good matchup. Not a bad team, just counting days till 2026.
2026 is right around the corner. And the Angels, now we're going to go jump over to the West Coast. The Angels here accomplishing something I did not think was possible, having to bring in a position player to get the final out of the 8th inning with second baseman Nicky Lopez. I had Angels money line in that game. I did not think there was a chance with Mike Trout back in the lineup that they were going to lose to the White Sox on opening day. But hey, White Sox came to play, scoring 8 runs, beating them 8-1. Luckily, the Angels were able to scrape one across the top of the 9th to avoid the shutout. But the Angels, man, I mean, Mike Trout just got he's off to a really slow start under the Mendoza line to start the season. I know that later on the question you have for me revolves Mike Trout, so I don't want to get into him too much. But I mean, the Angels are starting off the season as bad as ever. I figured with the addition of George Soler that the offense would at least be there. But it just hasn't been so far this season. Is this what we expect from the Angels the rest of the season, or do you think it'll start turning around once Trout gets hot?
I think Trout's going to turn it around. But the Angels as a team you're playing at your level. That's about where you stand. You're with the White Sox. You're no longer with the Astros, the Yankees. You're not going for pennants or World Series this year. And it hasn't been that way for a long time. That's just us saying Mike Trout's the best player that a lot of us have seen until Ichiro came around with our own eyes. And so it's natural to be like, he's got to take that team into the postseason. But history says that that's wrong, where the Angels are just doing what they do every year.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping for Mike Trout's sake. Obviously, it's good to see him in the postseason again. I would love to see him play some meaningful October baseball, whether that's with the Angels or whether that's with somebody else. We shall see. Obviously, my Giants. I'm a huge Giants fan. They were able to make a comeback late in the game versus the Reds, scoring 4 runs in the 9th inning, capped off by a Wilmer Flores 3-run home run. Then they were able to shut the door in the bottom of the 9th, getting that opening day win. Obviously, as a Giants fan, it was nice to see the team rally. It was something that they were able to do all spring training long. Obviously, they were able to finish with the best record out of all the baseball teams in spring training, and they kind of worked. Started off opening day with that same gritty mentality, coming back from down multiple runs. So it's nice to see the Giants take opening day, especially on the road. Now, Hack, we're going to jump over to Philadelphia here when the Phillies were down in D.C. playing the Nationals. How did opening day go for you as a Phillies fan? Obviously, you guys got the W, but it was a little bit rocky of a start there.
I mean, I think the Phillies showed Phillies fans the best side of them and the worst side. That's is what we'll talk about it later, but you struck out 13 or 12 or 13 times in the first 5 innings. But over the course of the last 4, they put up 7 runs. So the offense, hot, cold. Normally they don't go hot and cold like that in the same game. Normally for the Phillies, it's a stretch, but that's it. Without, we're talking about opening day, but I'm projecting a little bit forward here. They left the series 2-1, like they're 2-1. They cut down the strikeouts a little bit, a very little bit. But as a Phillies fan, I feel like I saw everything in the season, every highlight, because we had the Schwarber home run, and every concern with J.C. Romero looked like Toronto was right. He's washed. And, I don't want to jump too far on one appearance, but we saw all the things that we say are the reasons as a Philly fan that we're going to win. And we saw all the reasons why detractors say we're going to lose.
Well, hey, I will say, you said Wheeler also had a strong outing. Obviously, the Phillies bats were struck out, I think, 18 times total in the game. Not where you want to be, but you're still able to squeak out a win. Obviously, with once Mackenzie Gore was taken out of the game, Kyle Schwarber went yard back to back with Bryce Harper, and that kind of spelled doom for the Nationals. I knew Mackenzie Gore was like, "Why couldn't you have put me out for one more inning, bro? Like I could have handled it." He was just breezing through. But hey, if you look back at Mackenzie Gore history, he's had a history of owning the Phillies. Last season as well, in the first matchup, I believe he pitched 7 shutout innings with like 8 or 9 strikeouts. So he tends to do good against Philadelphia. He kind of tends to play up to the competition. So Mackenzie Gore, when he wants to, is an elite pitcher. It's just he's not very consistent. But he did bring it this week. Hopefully the Nationals are able to kind of help him out the rest of the season, and he's able to get a little bit more offense. But no, I mean, that's kind of wrapping up opening day. Another team that was really hot this weekend and started off undefeated, sweeping the Brewers, was the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees scored 20 runs on Saturday Saturday morning. I was definitely tuning into that game. I was hoping for a little bit of a kind of revenge game. I'm blanking his name. Who was the pitcher from the Brewers? Nestor Cortez. Yeah, I was really hoping for a revenge game for him. I hit the over on strikeouts. Like I had him shutting him out in the first inning. Like I was all on board the revenge train. First pitch gone. Okay, no big deal. Nestor Cortez, you got this, my dude. You got this. Just little first pitch jitters. Second pitch gone. Okay, no way he can do it 3 times. Third pitch gone. I literally was washing dishes, watching this game, shut off the water. I went outside and I screamed. This was absolutely incredible with the power display the Yankees were able to display. Was it 6 of the top 7 hitters all had home runs? Aaron Judge went yard 3 different times. And because of this, influx in power, Anthony Volpe was there's a picture posted online, and we can actually go ahead and we'll just go to some information about it right now. They're called torpedo bats. All right, so as you can see here, I got a few different angles, a few different pictures here. On the bottom right, you can see the black bat or the black and white bat with the white bat on top of it. The black and white is the traditional Louisville Slugger. The top bat in that picture is the torpedo bat. And as you can see from the picture of Jazz Chisholm on the left there, you kind of see that shape. It's almost like a bowling pin. So it kind of there was some extra talk around the league about are these bats increasing? Are these bats illegal? Are these bats increasing power? Hack, what do you think about these bats? Do you think there's any kind of impact to this? Do you think we're going to see this around the league? Do you think there's going to be a rule change? I mean, as we know, it does not break any rules. It's got it's got smaller diameter than 2.61 inches, which is bigger than you think. AO. But do you have any opinions as far as this bat type? If
to me, I'm mad that my team ain't used this. And I'm mad the Phillies aren't using it. If like you said, it's not cheating. So to me, it's like some people like to use the biggest glove possible out there. And does that mean that when they catch a snow cone catch that they're cheating? No, they're stretching the equipment to its max. I was speaking about the last game before we went on air. I'm watching Atlanta and San Diego, and they asked Machado about it, and he said, "Shoot, if that's the reason they're blasting the ball, I need y'all to ship some out to Petco." So unless it's like that, if everybody can use them, and it makes sense that it would hit the ball farther. I mean, you look at it, it looks like a ball. I understand science. The scientists tell me that it increases the sweet spot. So if that's the case, but it's not cheating, then hats off to the Yankees for being the first team to get there. And I would have tried to hide it a little bit better. I'd have tried to save that for my team because, would you not? I mean, listen, I'm going to flip this question to you because, not like disrespectfully, but my Phillies, we play in a smaller ballpark, and we don't have a problem hitting dingers and Citizens Bank. That's a home run friendly field. You San Francisco fan, you're in a huge ballpark. If this bat, do you not want your Giants, if this is a legal bat, to be using this bat?
Really, realistically, no. Because, yes, we play the majority of our games at a bigger field. But here's the problem is, even our most recent championship runs, we won the championship with defense and pitching. this, I mean, having a bat like this and allowing other teams to use it as well is going to allow the offense to explode at bigger parks. So that would kind of make the advantage of our big stadium not a disadvantage, but it would kind of even the playing field. And if we're going to have, you're going to play in the Bay, you're going to have the winds coming in off the water. You're going to have the right field, it's just that 25-foot tall wall. You're going to have, the deep center field that is a 431 in straightaway center. Like, we are a pitching and defensive team. That's how we win championships. This bat means nothing to me because I don't think it's going to have as big of an impact as you think it will. Even the Yankees, only Jazz Chisholm and Anthony Volpe were using, and Cody Bellinger, I believe, used it for one at bat. But those are the only 3 players using the bat on the Yankees. So their 9 home runs on the game really wasn't impacted by this too much. Obviously, Volpe had 2 home runs, so that kind of skews things a little bit. And then Chisholm had 1. But I mean, if you look at it, Chisholm last year in 161 at bats or 171 at bats with the Yankees only hit 11 home runs. In 12 at bats this year, he has 3. Is it because of the bat or is it because of better mechanics? I don't know. I do know that this allows it to be easier for hitters because now if you make a mistake before, you roll over on it, roll out to the pitcher, roll out to the infield, or have a meaningless pop-up. Now that sweet spot is larger, meaning that when you make a mistake or you have more wiggle room for mistakes to make that better contact. So I do think that if this is rolled out to the league, obviously Jeffers for the Twins was using the bat today, so it's already out to the league as far as other teams using it. It'll be interesting to see, after a full year of this, to compare, like, if Volpe uses this all season long or if Chisholm uses this all season long, will their power numbers increase, as much as it looks like they're going to, or if it'll kind of even out over the season. So only time will tell. I'm always game for making the game better. I think it's within the rules. They made the rules for a reason. The pitching is getting, the pitchers have all the tools right now, all the science, all the mechanic, everything is giving the pitcher the benefit of the doubt. This, I think, evens up the playing field for hitters to allow them to, make good contact, even if there's not truly good contact, if that kind of makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know if it does. I'm like you. I need to see it for a year. And the people that you're talking, like the Yankees you're talking about, are the wrong players to me. Because Jazz, I know he hit 11 last year, but Jazz Chisholm, before the fallout in Miami, was a top player. He was on the cover. I know it doesn't matter, like, all the stuff, but he was on the cover of the show. You don't get on the cover of these video games by being a bum. He was a regarded athlete. Bellinger has an MVP, and Volpe is in his 3rd year, so I'd expect or 2nd or 3rd. I'd expect an increase in natural progression and power. Now when I start, if you give Luis Arias the spat, and he goes from a base hitting slap speed guy into Luis Arias is now batting 350. And he hits 40 home runs. Now, okay, maybe we should do some investigations on the bat if you're turning those type of players into home run hitters. But I think, like, if I give Aaron Judge this bat, okay, he hits it 590 feet instead of 575. Both of them were going out of the park by a mile.
Right. Well, like I said, with Aaron Judge, like, he hit 3 home runs Saturday. He wasn't using this bat. Like I said, the guys who, aren't having problems with the sweet spot aren't using these bats. It's the guys that aren't quite getting the bat around fast enough, or that aren't quite getting the bat head to the right spot. And that's what this bat's for. And I think Chisholm and Volpe using it. I can't wait to see what their numbers are at the end of April. I think at the end of April I can make a true statement about how I feel about it. If they use that bat through the whole month. I think at the end of April, we'll be able to visit this again and kind of make a good determination. But is there anything kind of else you want to add about these bats? And here's another view the viewers talk about. You can kind of see the different shape. Is there anything else on this topic that you want to talk about before we move on to our anticipated pitching draft?
We just have to wait and see. I think that's going to be the great determiner.
Yeah, I personally don't have a problem with it. Do you think this is gonna? What do you think the most likely outcome will be? Do you think it will be a banned item, or do you think it will be something that is going to be used and kind of used to propel the game in a forward in the future? Do you think this is going to be around for a while or not really?
I think it will end up being used by players, but it will be a non-talked about issue.
Okay.
I'll just be like, oh yeah, that's the bat that he uses. Because like you said, unless Aaron Judge and Ohtani start using it and hit 70, it's not going to matter. There's still going to be the people that use their bats. And for me, looking at it personally, for me, I would think it would drag through the zone slower. Just again, I'm not a scientist. Just looking, it looks heavier. So it's weird to me that the guys that are having trouble making solid contact are going to, in my eyes, the way my mind works, that's going to go slower. So I don't know how that's, I get expanding the strike zone, but it also, I should slow down their hands. So,
well, the exact statement from the Yankees analytics department was that they did a study on Anthony Volpe, and every single ball he hit, it seemed like he was hitting on the label. So he didn't hit any on the barrel. So they had bats made up to where they moved a lot of the wood into the label. So the harder part of the bat will actually strike the ball. That's the actual statement of what their thought process was behind it. It makes sense to me. It makes sense if you look back at Volpe's tape last year. He wasn't hitting a lot of hard contact most of the time. What's up?
In that case, that I think I'm more intrigued to see if we start seeing players have customized bats just for them. Because if you're telling me that you moved it to where he was striking the ball, if I was Jazz, I'd want you to swing Science May and put the thickest part of the bat where I strike the ball. And so in that, I didn't understand they made that more specifically for him, and others are just taking advantage of it. But if you're telling me that you can pinpoint where I hit the ball 80% of the time with my swing and then make that the hardest part of my bat, there's no way that's not going to increase numbers for any. And again, you'd be a fool if that technology is out there. Because imagine if Aaron Judge is striking the ball when he hits it 90% of the time with the hardest part of his bat. That man could attack Barry Bonds' numbers. Like that's.
I didn't even think about that. If you really dug deep into it and took the time and customized each player on your team's bat to where they're hitting the ball the most often, that'd be crazy. I wonder if that's going to be something that happens, or if that's just a little bit too much customization, or I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see. I like where your head's at though, because my mind did not even go there.
I'm older than you, but I remember when they said Tony Gwynn was crazy for videotaping his every at bat.
That's true.
And now you're crazy for now. Like, I mean, we both play slow pitch softball. There's people that videotape every slow pitch softball. Not even major league. It's just commonplace that's what we do now. So who knows? This could just be like the tip of the iceberg on these new bats.
Hey, I'm all for it. But before we go any farther in the episode, I think it's time that you and I break out our drumroll, please. First ever up and in pitchers draft. For those of you who did not see the beginning of the episode, we're going to rotate alternating picks. He's going to pick once. I'm going to pick back to back. Hack will go back to back. Then I'll finish it off on our draft picks. And we're going to pick our best 5-man rotation from active pitchers as they are right now. So we're not going to go with, anybody from like how they were 10 years ago, and Justin Verlander 10 years ago or anything. It's how they are now. That's what we're going to draft. So Hack and I decided he would go first today. And then, of course, after we're all done, I'll put up a graphic to show what his rotation is, what my rotation is, and we'll kind of see who did a little better. But Hack, will you please start us off with the first pick of the draft?
I mean, to me, I thought it was easy, no-brainer. Tariq Skubal. I mean, he is the AL Cy Young. He's the AL Triple Crown. That to me is a no-brainer. We saw what he did on opening day. It's just every time out, he's giving you a quality start. I feel like, I'm sure you can find no, on this date he had a bad start, but it feels like when Skubal's on the mound, you better be the Dodgers if you're going to get over 3 runs.
Yeah, which like I said, that was a great matchup though to start the game on the opening night with Dodgers and the Tigers. So that was a great pitching matchup as well, him and Snell. Great pick. I'm going to go with a fireballer, Mr. Garrett Crochet. Last season, 209 strikeouts and 146 innings. He pitched five strong innings in Texas on opening day in a 5-2 win. So, like I said, I think his move to Boston was a fantastic pickup in the offseason. I think he's going to be one of the best pitchers for the foreseeable future, especially in the American League, and someone who will compete for the American League Cy Young this year. So I'm going to go Garrett Crochet with my first pick, and I'm going to follow that up with my favorite pitcher, someone who I think should have been, could have been, and would have been National League Rookie of the Year if Paul Skeens hadn't been such a rock star. And I know, why am I not picking Paul Skeens? Because I like Shota Imanaga a lot better. Shota's already thrown 2 games this season with a strong showing against the Dodgers on opening day of the Japanese series. He only threw 4 innings, but he went 7 against a top 10 lineup in the Arizona Diamondbacks. And he picked up the win in that game. He finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting last year. And so far this season, he's a 0.82 ERA, and he faced 2 of the best lineups in the National League out of the West to start the season. And I think he's going to be a front runner for the National League Cy Young this year. And you know what? The thing I love about Shota is it's not all about the strikeout. It's not all about speed or anything like that. It's where he picks to throw his pitches. In his first game against the Dodgers, he had 4 walks, gave up 0 earned runs. Wonder why that is? Because he picked his spots. He missed when he could miss. He didn't miss in any spots where Ohtani could take advantage of it or Freeman could take advantage of it. So any rotation without Shota on it, I'm not down for. So Shota Imanaga is my second pick.
Yeah, those are good picks.
I know.
Okay.
I know they are.
My second pick will be the best pitcher in the NL, Zach Wheeler. Again, I think of getting these like last year stats ready when we do this stuff. I just am picking for this year. So Tariq Skubal will have 200 strikeouts. Zach Wheeler will have 200 strikeouts. I just have guys that strike out a lot of people and win games. And my number 3 will be the pitcher that you should be your number 2 if you were just going to pick a young pitcher. But Paul Skeens. Now it's early. This is a projection pick. My 4 and 5 have been better major leaguers than Paul Skeens, but in the middle, surrounded by like the veterans that I have, there's another 200 Ks, and on my team, we will have a good bullpen. So 20-game winner. Boom.
Okay, well, you can have Skeens. That's totally fine with me. Because for me, I'm keeping it under the salary cap, and to keep him for the long term, I'm going to have to break the bank. I think Shota and Garrett are going to give me a little bit of a leeway on that contract. So that's where I'm thinking with the wallet as well. But with my 4th pick of the draft, I got to go with out of San Diego, Dylan Cease. Coming off a season with over 220 strikeouts, Hack. You're speaking about strikeouts, but you're forgetting about the strikeout king. And he's thrown the most innings in his career last season. He has dominating stuff. He had 8 scoreless starts last year, including 3 starts in a row, not giving up a run. And that was against the Braves, the Guardians, and the Nationals. So this dude knows how to pitch it. I think he's going to be a top arm in San Diego this year. Another Cy Young candidate in the National League. He always steps up his game when he goes against the Dodgers, and someone I'm excited to see play this year. And I'm gonna go ahead and also, with my 4th pick, take Mr. Arizona himself, Corbin Burnes, with the Diamondbacks this season, finally back where he lives, like where his hometown is. 2.82 ERA last season. He's making his first start for the Orioles tomorrow. He's never had a losing record since he became a full-time starter, and he's not going to start now. He threw 8 innings of 1-run ball in his lone playoff start last year. So he's someone that really turns on at the end of the season. And I know that because he only allowed 4 earned runs in September last season leading into the playoffs. I can't think of a better person to have him as my 4th starter than Corbin Burnes, baby. He's my 4th starter. That's crazy. You're letting me have too many good people too late in this draft, Hank. Who do you got next?
That's a nice pick. He was supposed to be my 3, but I thought you would snake me on Skeens if I waited too long. So I was more.
Where is Hack? Hack is back.
But I have at 4. I know this one because we've talked about it. we have talked about this one, and this one gets his goat. So I'm gonna say the name, and I know how much research you did, so I'll let you sing the accolades of my pick.
No, I'm not going
Logan
to.
Gilbert.
No.
Go ahead. Sing his pick.
No, I'm not going to talk about Logan Gilbert. I wanted Logan Gilbert. I thought about taking him with the 4th pick, but I was like, no, Corbin Burns, because Hack's going to be like, oh, I want Chris Sanchez from the Phillies or some terrible pick like that. That's what I was thinking. Okay, that's why I was in my brain. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna gloat about your pitcher because you got Logan
the whole
Gilbert,
staff, but I wanted to have a good discussion. But
and you wanted to have a good lineup.
This is what I'm gonna say about Logan Gilbert. All I've heard you talk about is Cy Young candidates, and I have the Cy Young. So my 4th starter is a Cy Young winner this year, not candidate, the winner. And number 5, this is where I save my money. This is one per Minnesota Twin, Pablo Lopez. For the last 3 years, 200 plus Ks. He wins 15 games a year in the small market. He's a player that probably the country won't know about because you're biased to these small teams. But Pablo Lopez in my 5-man rotation, and little side note here because we've glossed over small market teams. Even though my MVP started out 0 for 5, the MVP, Jackson Churro, a little small market love.
No, Jackson did not have a good first day, man. 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, or was it 5 strikeouts? I don't remember. It was rough. But it looks like we're on my final pick.
5 strikeouts.
5 strikeouts. Yeah, it was bad. We got my 5th and final pick, which I'm going to go ahead and throw up on the screen here what his rotation is versus my rotation. But my pick is a young guy, 25 years old, out of Cincinnati. Dude, 6'5", power pitcher, 8 strikeouts over 5 innings on opening day against my Giants. Sky is the limit with this dude. Like 9-5 record last season with a 2.75 ERA in 26 starts last season. I got to go with Hunter Green for my 5th start in my rotation. I just love what Hunter brings to the table. The way he's able to blow fastballs by certain hitters, the way he's able to place, spot his pitches. Hunter Green's going to be a fantastic 5th starter. Hack, let's go ahead and see and if you're happy with your best rotation. Obviously, you got Skubal, Wheeler, Skeens, Gilbert, and you said Pablo Lopez, but guess what? You don't get Pablo Lopez. I gave you Reynaldo. You can have him. What do you think of that? You don't get Pablo.
I mean, he'd be on my team for 5th starter. Still a big winner. Still a winner.
He did not have a great start the other night, though, and that is my bad.
That is a beautiful pitching staff, though.
It is. Even with Reynaldo, I'd be cool with this staff.
Just look at all them great pitchers. Look at all these great pitchers.
Let's look at the better rotation first. And this is my rotation. And I think in a 5-game series that goes 5 games, I'm winning 3. I'm winning 3 of these games. I'm telling you right now. Because who is your first starter? Okay, let's just say Skubal beats Crochet, right? Imanaga is 110% beating Wheeler. Skeens will pitch fantastic through 6 or 7 innings, and then the bullpen will blow it. And Dylan Cease will go 8 innings, a solid no run ball against the Pirates. Gilbert, I think that Burns and Gilbert, that's the best matchup of the bunch. And I think Burns blows them out of the water. And I think Hunter Green is going to take care of Pablo Lopez too. I don't know, man. I think in a 5-game series, I think I got you cooked. What do you think, Hack? Hold on a second. I got to pop in. That's the best look ever that he paused on.
Please, I was going to say screen. Please do not do this. I'm going to Gene's going to be giving me better internet because this is ridiculous. You said I'm cooked in a 5-game series.
Oh,
Your one is not, nobody's beating Tariq Skubal.
Okay, I gave you that one. I gave you that
I don't care who your number 2 is. Zach Wheeler.
Imanaga is going to be.
Zach Wheeler. I'm up 2-0.
All right, we're going to have to do a
I'll
team
accept
lineup.
your 5th starter then.
What we'll do is next week we'll draft our starting
it would
lineup.
be very close.
we'll draft our starting lineup next week.
All right.
And then we'll post. Here's what we'll do, chat. What we'll do is we'll draft our starting lineup next week. I'll make a post with both of our teams, including our starting lineups, and we'll post it on Facebook. We'll post it wherever we need to post it at, and we'll have them vote, and we'll see who would win in the 5-game series. Who's going to win? All right, we'll just do it that way. So next week we're doing our. We got a pitcher draft this week. We get the position players and designated hitter draft next week. Hack, since you drafted first in the pitcher draft, how about I go first in the players? That's what I think that's the best idea. All right. Perfect. So next week, player draft. And then, like I said, we'll post on the Wire to Wire page and even on the website, wiretowiresports.live or at live.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to, like I said, make a slide, show our teams. We'll draft them next week. You guys can vote who has a better team. We'll go from there. But heck, we got to talk about some players of the week this week. We had some absolute studs have absolute stud weeks. We got pitcher of the week, offensive player of the week, Aaron Judge, obviously with 3 home runs on Saturday. However many, it was 8 RBIs. Dude absolutely slayed. And then we got Mackenzie Gore. He probably had the best outing of opening week. 13 strikeouts, holding the Phillies scoreless. What do you think of these players of the week this week?
I mean, I'll talk about Gore because that's the game that I watched. I watched the performance. The Phillies had 1 hit, and they erased that because Schwarber got caught stealing. Watching that game as a Phillies fan, I was ecstatic that they took Gore out. There was no reason to take him out. He was humming. They weren't touching him. I've seen some other ones. Like Valdez was doing some work out in Houston on that Mets lineup. But Gore had the Phillies looking like anything good coming out of spring training. They were lost. Some of it I think has to do with the 4:00 shadows, but I'm not going to take away from that kid's opening day start. That was impressive. He faced, I think he went 5, 6. So you faced 18 batters and you struck out 13 of them. That's kudos to you.
He went 6 innings.
Good opening day for Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah, 18 outs, 13 of them being by strikeout, only giving up 1 hit. Absolutely owned the Phillies lineup. It was weird, though, on opening day. And I'm not to get sidetracked here, but it was weird to see not Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot on opening day. I saw that they kind of fixed that for game 2, but I was thinking they might be switching things up this year.
Well, yeah, we did the show about last week about moves, off-season moves. The Phillies weren't off-season movers. Pretty much stood pat. So the only thing you can change is the lineup. It makes more sense, I think. Anyway, if Schwarber's going to hit 40 home runs and 28 of them last year were solar shots, you're going to get more run production by dropping him. It's just, again, you know what? When Mackenzie Gore left the game, the Phillies offense looked really good. And then that lineup, it looked genius to have Schwarber batting after Harper and Bohm. It's just,
and not to kind of get off on a Phillies tangent here, but were you able to watch the game today? Because they did not look good today. The offense did not click either. I'm hoping that it's just early season jitters. Obviously, I have the Phillies as a favorite in the East this season, but it looks like they're coming out maybe a bit hit or miss, a little bit streaky on the offensive side of the lineup.
So I think last year was the anomaly for Philadelphia. They normally don't start good. And that's why they were able to get to they were chasing the Dodgers down at the end. But the normal thing in Philadelphia is to have a slow April. And then the weather is going to turn. Kyle Schwarber in June, I don't know if you know this, nationally people know it, but the June version of Kyle Schwarber, when in Philadelphia, our place at Wawa's do a Schwarber Fest, which just is Hoagie Fest, nicknamed Schwarber Fest, because he gets so hot.
Hoagie Fest is so good. I love Hoagie.
He just hits bombs all summer long. We're used to the slow start. I think because of last year and some people have them winning 100, it's hard to start slow and win 100.
No, absolutely with that. And obviously I don't want to, we talked about Mackenzie Gore and got off on a little bit of a Phillies tangent, but hey, it was deserved. We need to kind of get up on the tangent as one of the best teams in the league. We just want to know if they're going to have these hitting struggles all season, or if it's just an early season slump, which, as it sounds from a loyal Phillies fan, you thinking it's just a early season slump. This is to be expected. If you don't do bad in April, that means you're going to have a bad season, is what it sounds like you're saying. But the other player of the week, I'm going to pull that back up for us, is Aaron Judge. We talked about him earlier. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs on Saturday. Today he hit another home run, another 2 RBIs, giving him 4 home runs and 11 RBIs on the season. The Yankees, I had them, like, I didn't even have them in my top 10 of my power rankings, which, I might as well just go ahead, Hack. I'm just going to bring up the power rankings right now since we're really talking about it. This is this week's updated power rankings. I am not going to make the same mistake I did last week and leaving the Yankees out of this. I have them as high as 3rd on my power rankings. And folks, just so you know, Hack has nothing to do with this list. So if it's absolutely crazy, give me all the hate. Don't give it to him. But Hack, what are you thinking of my power rankings after the first opening weekend? Hey, I'm out of last, Hack, and that's okay because we're going to keep this ball rolling. Obviously, the Dodgers have an absolute tear so far, undefeated on the season. Oh, wait, are you there? No, that's okay. All right, we got 5-0 on the season for the Dodgers. The Padres are coming out swinging. They're about to sweep. The Braves today. They're up 2-0 as we speak. And then, of course, Hack, can you hear me? No? I'll put them on mute real quick then. Hack, can you hear me? Or did I lose you?
Yep.
Okay, cool. What's your opinion on the power ranking that we have so far for week 2?
I mean, some surprising things, just like last year, that St. Louis Cardinals.
Hey, I couldn't help it. I didn't even think about the Cardinals.
In these power rankings.
Like I said, they're starting off the season.
I think the Yankees might be low. I think the Yankees might be the second best team in baseball.
But here's the thing, Hack. We got to remember the Padres are on the cusp of sweeping the Atlanta Braves tonight. They're up 2-0 right now. Like, they could sweep the Braves.
I would flop the Yankees with the Padres and drop the down.
I think we're a bit delayed in our communication, and that is okay. But no, I mean, like I said, the Padres are literally about to sweep the Braves. Yankees, they just took care of business against the Brewers. The Phillies, we saw what their offense could be, and the Baltimore Orioles to split with the Blue Jays. We saw what their offense is capable of, and we know once their starting pitching gets underneath them, they're going to have a fantastic season as well. But the Cardinals are probably my surprise team on this list. The Giants, obviously, starting off great in Cincinnati. But with the Cardinals starting out 3-0, it's just something that I wasn't expecting. I actually thought that they would maybe win one game in the opening series. I thought the Twins would come out on all cylinders, but the Twins' offense did not look good this opening series, only scoring 6 runs, giving up 19. That's one of the largest differentials of opening weekend. Obviously, the Rangers look fantastic. The Astros, Hack, you're not surprised by the Astros, of course, but the Astros are coming out. They took care of business at home this weekend. Anything else you kind of want to throw in about these power rankings before we kind of finish up the episode this week?
I think the Yankees are the second best team right now in baseball, if I'm being honest with you. What we saw, if that's how the new additions are going to play, and Wells and Volpe are making this leap, and we haven't even seen Dominguez and Ben Rice get involved in the offense really yet. So I think they still have a level to go up, whereas San Diego, I think we all know what they are. I think the Phillies are too high. I'm going to give that, as much as I want to be a homer, I'm going to give that the critical eye. And one game was really good. And 2 of them, the starter pitchers, exposed you. The one, you got to the bullpen. Today, they couldn't get to the bullpen until the 9th just to avoid a shutout. And You know what? You know I love Houston. I'm gonna surprise you. I think Cleveland should jump up because I think we both had Kansas City on our preseason. You know, at least in the top. Let's go 15, and they played a heck of a series out there and walked away with the win. That was the series to be the class of that division, and I feel like they showed that they're still a step or two ahead of Kansas City.
Well, here's my question. In my just outside the top 10, I have Toronto because the way that they played the Orioles this weekend, that was a tough series of two very well coached ball clubs playing this weekend, splitting the series as deserved. I do hear what you're saying about the Philadelphia Phillies. I feel like this, for example, in the NFL power rankings, you can go from like 5th to 15th in a week just by how you play in one game. In baseball, it's such a long season. Like I couldn't be too terribly drastic because I saw the glimpses of what the Phillies are. So that's why I kind of left them in that 4th spot. But I definitely see what you're saying. I'm glad that you, of all people, as a Phillies fan, are critical of that. But Miami is just outside my top 10. They're 3-1, leading the NL East at this moment. All right, obviously we're very early in the season, but is this Marlins team going to be a team we're going to be talking about after the All-Star break? Or is this a team that we're going to be talking about maybe through April, and then it's going to be back to Miami baseball?
I'm going to use, since you brought the NFL, like bringing up the power rankings, this is like when New Orleans last season in the NFL scored 70 points in back-to-back weeks. And people were like, whoa, they could win the Super Bowl. And then they didn't make the playoffs. We talked, there's players on Pittsburgh that I like, but the Pirates as a team, I can't elevate you on a top 10 list by going 3-1 against the Pirates.
Yeah. Okay, I can respect
just
that.
like, because when I think about them, I also, if wherever I had them in my preseason rankings, I wouldn't have dropped them if they went 1-3 against the Pirates, because I don't think they're quite of the teams on our top 10 list. Now we get into the end of April and you're still in the hunt in the NL East. All right, we'll talk.
Well, hey, the Marlins got a tough series against the Mets coming up. All right, and then they come into Philly for a series at the Mets, Braves, Mets again, and then the Nationals. So the next 4 series or so, 3 of them are against teams that should be all the way up to the National Series. These next 3 series, they should lose 1-2 or be swept. And I think that's the expectation. I think if they can get through the next couple of series, the 2 series against 6 games against the Mets, 3 games against the Braves, if they can get through those, 9 games, and they can go 5-4, 6-3, then I think we got to start singing a different tune about Miami. And maybe this is the season where we start talking about the Braves not being the Atlanta Braves team that we're used to seeing. I mean, like I said, yes, they faced a tough Padres team right out the gate, but they couldn't even cross a win. They could get a win in a 4-game series. I mean, we got to start looking at the Braves lineup and the Braves rotation with a fine-tooth comb here pretty soon if they don't turn this around. I mean, I expect them to, but do you think the Braves might be past their window, or do you think that the Padres are starting off the season hot? Oh, hold on, Heck. Hold on, buddy. For some reason, you are muted. Hold on. Okay, go for it.
I think the Padres, they ran into a hot team. Padres are a hot team. It's the opening. Like I was looking today, like I was just going over, the whole opening weekend, looking at results, numbers, things like that. And I was like, man, because the Phillies, to me, they haven't had a great 3 games. It's 3 games out of 162. Last year, at the end of last year, after when we did our show, after opening day, you would have sounded crazy to still believe that the Detroit Tigers were going to make the playoffs. At the All-Star break of last year, if I told you the Mets were going to be playing the Dodgers for a chance to go to the World Series, I'd have sounded like a lunatic. Because, the Mets were a sinking ship at that time. And they turned it around. For me, the Braves season starts when Acuna comes off the IL. When Acuna's back, and that offense set their lineup, and they actually have him lead off. Everything is how they want it. That's when I'll start. I would want them to stink, but I can't say they're cooked. It's too early.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's almost like how the Astros started out last season, just like you were just kind of listing off teams. So I was like, oh, the Astros are cooked. They're done. They're past their prime. And you're like, no, they're not. Just wait. I do kind of agree with you here. I think the Padres start off the season. I think the Padres have a chip on their shoulder this season, which is why I have them second in the power rankings. The way that the season ended last year, meeting the Dodgers in a shortened series. A lot of people think that was the World Series. And, I don't disagree with how well played, how well fought, how even those teams were in that series. The Padres have something to prove this year. And it's knock out the Dodgers in the playoffs and win the West or bust. That's literally kind of what's on all their minds, and they're really coming out swinging. And I think the Padres have a great chance to do it. I can't wait for the first Padres-Dodgers series of the year.
Yeah, it's nice to see the hate. Like, as a Phillies fan, we hate the Mets. The Mets and Phillies don't like each other. The Mets and, the Yankees. It's nice to see that rivalry. That's why I was watching the Braves game, and they have Machado mic'd up. They asked how he liked his first San Diego football club, the soccer team's match he went to. He's like, I loved it, and we beat the LA football club, so it couldn't be better than that. Like, these cities don't like each other. The players don't I'm sure they think each other are lovely, family men and stuff, but like on the field, these players don't like each other. It's nice. It's nice to see that, and they're both stacked teams. It's nice to see a team not afraid of the Dodgers.
Yeah, what really sucks for fans is that we're not going to see the Dodgers and the Padres face off until June 9th. And then they play 6 games in a 9-game stretch. So that's going to be a fun. Also, they have a 4-game series. They have 7 games in 10 out of a 10-game stretch are Dodgers Padres in early to mid-June. That'll be something exciting to watch. Hack, I know we're getting ready to wrap up the show, and I know you had a question you wanted to ask me to end the show. And what was that question?
All right, here we go. So a couple of years ago, I think this question would have been a no-brainer. I think everybody would have had the same answer, but now we sit where we sit. Mike Trout. No, he didn't homer this week, did he?
He homered today. No, not today. He homered yesterday.
So he's probably sitting at 378 home runs. Do you think Mike Trout will get to 500 home runs before he retires?
The full right now he's at what?
Okay.
370.
So he's at
378.
379.
379. Okay. So he's at 379. He's got 121 to go. Honestly, Heck, the short answer for me. Yeah, the short answer for me is no. Only chance he has is if he moves from the outfield completely and he goes either to first base or adopts the designated hitter position. Because realistically, at his age, 33 that he is right now, he's got to play at least 4 more healthy full seasons of 30 home run ball. He's got to hit 30 and a half home runs a season for the next 4 years to get to that number. And that's going to be his year 37 season. He hasn't hit 30 home runs in 5 years. I don't know if this is something that he'll be able to accomplish, not because of lack of ability, but because I think he's not going to be on the field enough to get to that point. I think he's going to have his 15, 20 home runs in his 98 to 110 games he's going to play every year. But until he's healthy enough to play a full season and he adopts the designated hitter role, I don't think he gets to 500. What about you?
I tend to agree with him. The only thing I can't project is how much he cares about that. Because if he wants to, he can go be, like you said, he can go DH in Miami. He can go DH in Vegas and sell tickets for the next 8 years. And 8 years, you need what? 15 home runs a year, 20 home runs a year at that pace.
Yeah, the question is if he thinks he can play to 40. With last season,
I just don't know if he wants to stay in baseball for another 10 years to get the 500.
I think realistically, obviously he's going to get to 400. I think that he may get to 400 home runs by the end of this season. But I think that if he's able to play, I think that the high hopes.
It'll be rough. I'm going to agree with no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. But hey, we have reached the hour mark on our show this week. We've covered a lot from opening weekend cover stories to the new torpedo bats. Hack and I had our pitcher draft. Next week, we're going to be having our positional player draft and putting our teams together and seeing who has the better squad. But other than that, Hack, do you have any closing statements for the people at home this week before I end the show with a little bit of highlight reel from the week? I think we're on a delay. No? All right. Well, hey, we're going to be here next week. Hack's internet's going to be fixed. We're going to get him in touch with Gene, and we're going to get him some good internet.
But hey, folks. But I'll see you all next week.
Boom. There he is saying goodbye. I appreciate y'all. Again, I'm going to have a nice little exit video for us to have with a nice exit video for us with some highlights from the weekend. Hopefully, we'll see everybody next week. We'll get the technical difficulties all squared away, and then we'll have a fantastic rest of the season. Have a great week watching baseball. Peace.
Last year, first pitch, driven deep and far to left.